Welcome to the Student Success Stories podcast, the podcast where we spotlight academic success at Baylor University. Today we are joined by Miguel to talk about First in Line once again. In this episode, we gain some insight on what exactly First in Line is, how it is helping students, and how to get involved in the program. For this and much more, stay tuned. Welcome to the Student Success Stories podcast. We're here with Miguel. If you want to start by introducing yourself a little bit.
Sure. Hi, my name is Miguel. I'm a senior neuroscience major from El Paso, Texas. I'm one of the First in Line ambassadors here within the First in Line office.
Oh, cool. Neuroscience, that's pretty intense.
It can get pretty intense, but we're pushing through it.
Oh, for sure. Because it's final season. So are you like dying right now, or?
I'm a little bit dead right now.
I definitely feel that. It's a struggle, but anyways, thank you for being willing to meet me this early and all that jazz, especially during final season. I really appreciate it. So if you want to start by telling me a little bit about your involvement with First in Line. I know that you're a First in Line ambassador. So what does that entail?
Yes, of course. So as First in Line ambassadors, my main goal is to do outreach to the community and to involve our first generation students that are not involved within the academy. Within First in Line, we have something called Felsa, First in Line Student Academy. That's a scholarship program within the First in Line office. So what happens is incoming freshmen that are first generation students, they apply into the program and actually get a scholarship. And throughout the semester, they gotta go to workshops. They gotta go to several events that First in Line does in order for them to keep up with the with the scholarship program. And we also have First in Line Student Society. That's the first generation club, I like to call it. Our overall First in Line ambassadors were heavily involved also within the student society, and we actually do several events throughout the semester. We should do family gatherings, we call them, in which we usually go to. We might go to a marina. We might chill there, and kind of like decrease the level of stress for students. Just chill, hang out. Sometimes we can just have maybe, I don't know, a random pizza party. Just anything that allows us to connect with our first generation students here at Baylor University. We within the scholarship program, we have the peer leaders. They're the ones that are more involved into the scholarship program. And I believe the scholarship program, each peer leader has a specific group of students, and they actually are taking care of them. Our first line ambassadors are more in a broader spectrum.
So you mentioned some workshops that you guys have. What do those look like? What do you do?
Well, several. It depends. Sometimes this past semester we had a workshop. We usually bring the financial literacy within the financial aid office. We usually come and they give a presentation for us for First in Line office. Sometimes we bring motivational speakers. Sometimes there are presentations about about our study habits, scholarships and all those kind of things. So the workshops are pretty varied, and actually pretty much anybody's welcome to attend them. I mean, regardless. But within First in Line, the people who are involved in Felsa, the Student Academy, First in Line Student Academy, they must attend in order for them to to be involved within the scholarship program.
Oh, okay. That makes sense, actually.
Yeah, so the workshops are like a requirement for the scholarship program.
I talked with Emily Canas, and she was describing how the financial literacy courses and how they just make sure that how the whole college process works, since your parents might not. And so she was explaining that, and I thought that was really interesting. So how did you hear about First in Line?
Well, actually, I heard about First in Line when I was a freshman. I'm not sure if Michelle Gonzalez, the current program manager, I remember she was the manager at the time. But back when I heard about First in Line, I was actually in you usually get those like random emails when you're first accepted into Baylor and join
Yeah.
First in Line, all those different things. Yeah, exactly. And so, that's how I first heard about First in Line. For other circumstances, I couldn't be more involved First in Line until this semester. So I decided to be one of the ambassadors. Actually, the ambassadors program I think it started last semester,
Okay.
but but this semester is actually like they actually send out like an application for us to apply. So actually to apply for the to become an ambassador, and you go through a whole interview process. And this ambassador program is very, very, very new. Like it's not even a year old.
Well, I think it's a good idea though, because who better to help you like with college things than a college student that was in your position that's done the exact same things you need to do. So I think that makes sense.
Yeah, and like I said, there are peer leaders, but peer leaders are more heavily involved in the student academy, the
Mhm.
success academy, and us ambassadors are more going towards the general Baylor population, first generation students in the general population that are not involved within the Success Academy, within the scholarship program. So I think I think it was a great idea that Michelle did that. In fact, our lead ambassadors, Jonathan Rogers and Brandon, they actually are like the two of some of the founding ambassadors of the program. So
Oh,
they're actually like our leaders right now. And so they're actually um, really good leaders. They provide really good support not only to students but also to us ambassadors. So I mean, if anybody needs more support or any wants to ask more questions, they can actually approach us ambassadors or goes directly to them.
yeah, yeah. It's like more channels of, help to go to.
Yeah, and especially since first generation students, we don't have like we're relatively new to this
Mhm.
college experience. We're not sure what's going on. I mean, I know my own experience. I needed to feel in FAFSA. I didn't know what FAFSA was. First of all, I didn't know how to apply to college. Yeah, and FAFSA is long. It it's it's too much paperwork, in my opinion. It's a lot of paperwork, too many numbers, and it's just a tedious process. And then keep doing it every year. Uh,
My mom, like, and my sister goes to Baylor, so obviously they had to do the FAFSA first. But like when it came to my turn to do it, she still was like, I have no idea what this is. Like, so it's impossible regardless.
yeah, it can be impossible sometimes. And like I said, within first line, we can sometimes we might be able to help you fill out that information. Other times we're going to uh, uh, send you to an appropriate person within the financial aid office that they can aid you further.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. Would you say that being a first generation college student has affected your experience at Baylor?
Maybe. Well, it depends. I mean, when I first started as a freshman, I was like, what am I doing here? I guess we all have that imposter syndrome every once in a while.
Yeah.
And even that I'm a semester away from finishing, I still feeling like, that imposter syndrome, being like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
But I think as a first generation student, it's hard to navigate college overall, especially if you don't know what's really going on. Um, you know, I've being a first generation student means that your parents didn't attend college at all, or they don't have a college degree at all. So, going even before coming to college, like my senior year of high school was like, well, what's FAFSA? And how do you feel FAFSA? Well, what are the applications? How do you fill the applications? SATs, how do you fill SAT scores,
Mhm.
AP scores, dual credit. So it's all these little steps that at the end they're massive. So as a first generation student, it can be overwhelming
Mhm.
even before coming to college. In college, you're far from home. You might not have, depending on your major, you might not have, a lot of friendships. Um, depending on whether you need to work, whether you need to hold a job or not. That's going to limit a lot of things. Whether, like depending on the number of classes that you're taking, whether you are on an academic scholarship, you need to maintain a certain GPA. So it's hard. It's hard, especially for first generation students. It's just, it's can be overwhelming, but once you get, a hold of it, you can like maybe move a little bit and maybe have something on your favor. But it everything's unexpected, and it's like, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? And it happens like every year. It's like, well, this unexpected happens. My mom's not here. My mom doesn't know how to do this. My dad doesn't know how to do this. So like, I gotta fix it myself. So over time, you gotta be like your own parent, pretty much. You need to. If you don't know how to navigate college, well, you better get it together instead of just going. Yeah, instead of just going to like, Mom, how do you do this or that? How do you do that? And I'm the oldest brother, so I'm the very first one in my family to graduate from high school. I'm the very first one to come to college. So it's just not having that support is like, oh, what am I gonna do?
Yeah, because they probably want you to do good. They're willing to like do whatever you need them to do, sign whatever you need your parents to sign, but like at the end of the day, they don't know to tell you to do this certain thing, or like they can't help you with the FAFSA in the way that like you wish they could. So it is a lot more responsibility. And Emily Canas did mention like the imposter syndrome that a lot of first in line students feel, but I would say like if you are a semester away from graduating, like to be a neuroscientist, like there's no way you can like fake that. So you definitely deserve to be here. And I think it's crazy that like y'all even feel like that, because you can't fake graduating college.
Yeah, and especially when I from a personal experience, when I told my mom, well, actually, this is a short story. I told Baylor as a joke. Okay, I was just fooling around with the application. I didn't expect to go in. I told my mom, "Oh yeah, sure, I applied to Baylor. We'll see what happens, right?" But my whole plan was staying at my local college at the University of Texas at El Paso. So I was planning to stay at UTEP, and then I get to Baylor and told my mom, "Hey, I got it to Baylor," and she's like, "Well, I guess we're going to Baylor." I was like, sure, let's do it. And so, within the family, it's like, yes, he's graduating. He's on Baylor. He's doing neuroscience so hard.
Yeah.
So, you got to keep up certain expectations. That adds to the pressure on top of work and knowing how to navigate college. And, it adds to pressure. So besides imposter syndrome, it's that feeling of I cannot give up because we already spent this much time, this much money, this much effort for me to be here. I cannot give up now. I gotta keep going, even if the world's crumbling around me. I gotta keep going. And that's what a lot of first generation students tell me. Even as freshmen, I've heard it's so hard. I how do I do it? And I tell them, relax, just you'll be fine. I promise you'll be fine. It's gonna be hard. Like, I can assure you that you are gonna go to sleep a lot of nights crying. You're gonna be frustrated. You're gonna be anxious. You're gonna be angry. It's okay. Whatever you're feeling, whatever you felt, or whatever you will feel, I can assure you, I already been through that. I can assure you, I know how you're gonna feel. I'm gonna tell you this: you're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine because you're resilient and you know what you're doing. Well, we don't know what we're doing. Even as a senior, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm just trying to we're trying to navigate through the whole college experience. Especially at Baylor. If you go to any part of the country and you say, "Oh, I go to Baylor and I'm studying neuroscience," they're like, "Whoa, he goes to Baylor." They recognize you as with the basketball team, national champions, and the male and women's basketball teams, Big 12 championship in football. It's we keep adding to that pressure. Besides being a first generation student, you're first gen, you know, you need to know, you don't know how to do it college, GPA, and top you go to Baylor. Just the name of Baylor, it's like, whoa, this guy is pretty hardcore. But you know, at the end, it's like, well, you know, like they have us on a pedestal, but deep, we're like, I'm not supposed to be here. You know,
Yeah.
you know, it at the end, it's like, I know I'm supposed to be here, but I'm not supposed to be here, you know? Like I'm here, but there's something that I'm missing. I'm not comfortable with this. It's not it's not who I am, you know, and that's, you know, what imposter syndrome comes to place. I'm not supposed to be here. I'm doing a lot of mistakes and I'm failing so many times. I'm doing too many things that I'm not supposed to. And why am I here? And to those people that ask themselves the question, it's okay. It's okay to feel that way. We all have been through that experience, you know? And every time they ask me, well, how do you do it? And I tell them, I just go with the flow. Just let the river take its course. You know, it's if you fail, take in the failure, engage it. If it's imminent, just let it happen. You did your best. You know you know how capable you are. Just do it. You know. Warning. The key here is if you fail 1,000 times, you're gonna get up 1,001 times. It is not okay for you to fail and give up. It's okay to fail, but if you give up, then that's not okay. That's wrong, and that is not acceptable. It's like I said, failure, it's a great teacher. Success, yeah, sure, but you get to comfortable with success. But failure is gonna kick you in the butt really hard, and it's gonna make you realize a lot of things you didn't. And you know, as a first generation student, being on a pedestal and falling without nobody noticing, that's what failure does. You're right here, you're 20 meters in the air, and failure's gonna kick you, and you're gonna be 20 meters down earth. And it's gonna be painful, it's gonna be frustrating, and that's okay. Because that's the whole point of it. It's about you learning about it and embracing it.
And you are the example for your family members. So it's a long way to fall if you fail.
Yeah. You know, especially I'm the oldest of three. If I fail, what am I telling my siblings? You know, it's like if I fail and I give up, it's like, you know, oh, he gave up, I can do it too. Like I cannot get comfortable with myself with just failing and not doing anything about it, you know? I gotta do everything that I can. I gotta do everything that I can control. Also, first generation students, there are things you cannot control. If you cannot control for those things, don't worry about it. Just chill, okay? It has happened to me many times. Oh, I need to talk to a registrar, I need to talk to financial aid office, I already sent documents. Where is the information gonna get? Like, when am I gonna get an answer? Don't worry about it. It's up to them. Just don't worry about it. Chill. Because at the end, it's stressful. I mean, you know, it at the end we don't have the answers. Like, even I've met people who are 7th generation Baylor Bears.
Oh.
I met a girl a couple of times ago that she's like, oh, I'm a 7th generation Baylor Bear. And I'm like, I'm a 1st generation Baylor Bear. So like
I guess like a different kind of pressure, right? Because she probably has that pressure to, like, if you don't go to Baylor, you are
yeah, and you know, I I sympathize with 7th generation Baylor Bears, you know, because I'm not sure what their family history is. I don't know what majors they did or what, you know, other generations did, but you know, I'll sympathize with them. You know, it's also the importance of, you know, I can assure you that the 1st generation Baylor Bear of that 7 generations, I can assure you he was in the same position as I am, or as I was. So just imagine being back in the day, thinking about, you know, all different things when probably there wasn't even a 1st generation office. Just think about it. And then being a 7th generation Baylor Bear and trying to keep up with that legacy. It's at the end, being at Baylor, it's it's hard. I mean, it's hard, it's chaotic, and hey, somehow we gotta keep up with it.
Has being in the first in line program changed your perspective on anything?
I guess so, yeah, a little bit. Now I've come to understand that my story is not unique. There are other people out there that are feeling the same way I'm feeling. There are people out there who have had the same experiences as I've had. There are people who are going to empathize with you and who are gonna be there for you and who are gonna cry with you. You know, Michelle, the program manager. I think she's also a first generation bear, and so the fact that the program manager, she understands being a first generation student, and being able to like empathize with each other and understand each other. That has changed my perspective a lot. And at first, I thought my story was unique, but it turns out I'm not alone. 20% of 20% of the Baylor population, it's first generation student.
What?
Yeah, I was surprised when I was given the statistic when they we have a presentation that we give. That's actually we explain for what the first in line office is. We give statistics, and approximately 18 to 20% of the Baylor population, it's first generation student.
What?
If I remember correctly, okay. But I mean, I was surprised by it, and I was like, wow, I did not know that. That's a lot more than I thought. So there's more people out there with your story, and at the end, it's okay to ask for help. Because I was one of those person who like, I'm a first generation student. I can do this by myself. I don't need no one's help. Sometimes we do.
Yeah.
And so that was a 360-degree turn. And I'm pretty sure a lot of other fellow first generation students have come to realize that, and it's at first it's hard to realize it, because it's like, well, but my story is different, but it's not the same as them, but at the end they're pretty much the same, and we're there for you, for support.
Yeah. If you had any advice to give first generation college students similar to yourself, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a hard one. I guess I'm gonna give you one that's on top of my head. It's okay to fail. Failure, it's valid. You don't know anything. You're not gonna know anything on the first try. It's okay to try a second time, a third time, a fourth time, 1,000th time. What's not, like I said, what's not okay, it's for you to give up. If you give up, then what's the point of them trying? If the first try everything comes out the way it's supposed to come, everything's supposed to come out, great. If not, do it again. I like to think of it as a science experiment. We do so many experiments that at the end, the first experiment is not gonna matter anymore.
Yeah.
At the end, you take the whole average of it, and then that's the data point that matters, And so, we learn through so many failures, and at the end, I go back to my own failures and I say, and at this point, they don't matter. I remember my very first college exam was a chemistry exam, and I got a 68 on it. And I was like, I remember that day I called my mom, went to my mom. I failed the exam. I don't know what happened. What am I gonna do? And she's like, relax. You'll be fine. Talk to your professor. I went back to my professor, passed chemistry. I'm about to graduate from Baylor, so that exam doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
So I mean, regardless, failure does teach you something. Failure, it's okay. Because at the end, we don't know everything. We might not be the smartest or the brightest, but something that we are capable of is being able to be resilient. I think resilience with the first generation student, it's really, really cemented with us. So regardless of your experiences, failure is going to teach you something, and you're going to catch up on it really quick.
Yeah. And can I just say, you didn't even fail by that much on that test, and chemistry is hard at a college level. So I do not blame you. Like, I can barely not fail my business classes. So, I mean, what you're doing is definitely impressive.
At the end, uh, like I said, first year student, we're like on a pedestal, right? Like you're
Yeah.
gonna have all A's. If you don't have A's, you are not up there. So, at the end, I said, I'm not gonna worry about A's. I'm gonna enjoy my classes. I'm gonna enjoy my major because that's the whole point of college. Enjoying your major, and if you enjoy your major and your classes, you're gonna get the easiest A you could ever have.
Yeah.
So, at the end, chemistry is like it's gone. And that's my advice. At the end, you're gonna fail so many times. I hope you don't fail that many times. But if you do, at the end, the first failure is not gonna matter anymore. You learn what you had to learn. You were taught what you were to be taught, and that's it. Like life moves on.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a good way to put it. Well, thank you for joining us, Miguel. I really enjoyed our conversation today. It was super interesting. Is there anything you wanted to say before we get off?
No, I mean, thank you for inviting me to the podcast, and thank you for taking the time of listening to my rambling of first generation students.
Yeah, well, thank you for joining us, and Sick 'em Bears.
Thank you for tuning in to the Student Success Stories podcast. You can listen to our previous episodes on iTunes, or you can find us on Instagram and YouTube at Student Success Stories. Would you like to be featured on the podcast? DM us on Instagram. Thank you for listening, and Sick 'em Bears.